Hey guys, so today I thought I'd be talking about 5 things that we do that undermine ourselves. I'm not sure about you guys, but for me, I really struggle with self-confidence, or at least valuing myself. And so I want to talk about like 5 things that I've done, that I've noticed that maybe some of you guys do as well, that undermine our true value. Number 1, seeing only one attribute of yourself that is of value. Oh, I am muscular, or I am intelligent, or I am successful, and they only focus on that one aspect of themselves. It's important to know what your strengths are, but it's also important to know that you're a multifaceted person and that you're not defined by one thing in your life, right? Your sexuality is not the one thing that will define you. Your humor and sassiness is not the only thing that has value. They have value individually, yes, but you as a whole person have so much more than just one value. So then the second thing, saying yes when I want to say no. And I know that everybody has said this. I am still learning to do this. I am a huge yes man. Like, I don't want to disappoint anybody. I have FOMO. But the reality of the situation is, more times than not, the times that I've thought to myself, I'm just doing this out of FOMO, I'm just doing this out of obligation, and I'm saying yes, I have always been disappointed with the outcome. Not always, most of the time I am disappointed with the outcome. Sometimes you're doing a disservice by saying yes, right? If you are not going out of the genuine desire to go from your heart, people can tell. People are inviting you because they want you to be part of something. But if you're gonna bring that something down, then it's probably better for you to just say no, right? Like, would you want to invite somebody, they feel obliged to say yes, and they come begrudgingly to your party? No, right? Nobody wants that. So, learn to say no politely, right? There's no obligation for you to explain yourself. But if you do decide to explain yourself, then, make it a clear, honest reason, right? It can be something as simple as, thank you so much for the invitation. I love that you're involving me. It's just, I don't think I'm in the right mental headspace to be going. I'm going to bring the energy down. If you want, maybe we can catch up another time, right? Something as simple as that, right? Number 3, when people excuse your actions because of a personality trait.
That doesn't make sense.
So what do you want me to do?
Redo it.
Just redoing it, hence the change of outfit. So for number 3, we want to talk about how we address change with our friends and the people around us, right? I think there's a habit to shrink away from talking about the change that we undergo, right? Especially with people we're close to who know us really intimately, right? And so when you do change something, sometimes they'll still refer to your old behaviors. I personally don't think it tends to be a malicious intent. It's just that they're so used to your behavior that stigma about you carries forward. It can sometimes be a little bit awkward when you think about, how do I address it? It doesn't need to be anything complicated. Just be like, hey guys, I'm sure you noticed that I've been trying to be more on time. Hopefully you guys will recognize that I've made that change and that, Dylan isn't always late, right? And so just addressing it will be able to change the way they talk about you. It'll change their subconscious idea about you. The reason I think it's relevant is because other people hear how your friends talk about you. So the impression that they have of you will kind of ripple out. It just doesn't feel good, right? To hear somebody constantly referencing something that you've already changed. Number 4. Don't allow other people to belittle or minimize your value or your contribution to something. I think it's a little bit self-explanatory, this one, right? But I think that in the gay community, there is sometimes this rhetoric of, you don't understand, you aren't me, you haven't lived my trauma, and that, your perspective is invalidated. And I don't believe that in any kind of community that's been marginalized, that any of our stories should ever be dismissed, right? As a cumulative society, we have struggled. And I think that when people dismiss what you're saying, it is utter disrespect, right? Because maybe you didn't have a financial struggle, maybe you didn't have a specific difficulty, but we all are part of this together, and we all cannot say that somebody else's trauma is less than your own. Trauma doesn't make or break somebody, right? There's so many other things in our lives that make us strong or make us important or make us worth being heard, right? Everybody's lived experience provides a unique perspective, and we need to listen to all of our experiences in order to grow as a community, right? And I really it's one of my pet peeves when somebody's kind of like, oh, you don't understand. One, you obviously don't understand my story if you're dismissing it so easily. And two, if you think I don't understand, why don't you listen to where I come from and then try and help me understand your point, right? If you don't listen to my lived experience and if you don't care to know who I am, then how are you ever going to make me understand you? Does that make sense? You have to give some to get some, you know? It just doesn't make sense. Anyways, for number 5 for me would be don't use sex and attention as a metric of value. Does that make sense? It's like, I'm not sure if this is my business mind thinking, but like for something to be measurable, it needs to have consistency, right? And for you to value yourself based off something like sex and attention, there is no real consistent metric, right? Because every single person finds beauty and attraction different, right? What you think is beautiful, what I think is beautiful, what Arthur thinks is beautiful is all different, right? So you can't measure yourself on something like that. If you want to present yourself beautifully to yourself, that's different. If you want to look in the mirror and say today, damn, I look beautiful, go for it. That is different, right? That's different because it's not about sex, it's not about attention, it's about how you look at yourself and see yourself. There's a mirror over there, that's why I keep like looking over there. It's kind of just, anyways. So those are 5 things that I'm discussing today as to what I have personally experienced is undermining myself, and that might be undermining you as well. If you enjoyed this conversation, then I'd love it if you guys subscribe to our channel, Hub and Hubs, and maybe give us a like. Anyways, bye guys.